Once upon a time, there was a little place called Tabletop Time. And there was a boy named Dave. He was going to paint a model called Red Riding Hood. He was going to paint this model for a friend. That friend was a boy named Jazza. So he embarked on a painting journey to make the cutest Red Riding Hood he could possibly imagine.
I need your help. I'm going to make a book nook. I'm going to do this whole scene depicting Little Red Riding Hood, and I want your help to make a Little Red Riding Hood. So we need to find the perfect model that you can paint, and I'll do the rest.
Okay, that's easy. Cool, sounds good. Let's see what we can make.
Sounds good.
While Jazza had asked me to make Little Red Riding Hood, he didn't quite know the scope of what I was planning on doing. What I really wanted to do was make it feel like a scene from a Disney movie, the old classic animated Disney movies. So I really wanted to grab some models that would help build up a scene. I set these up to 3D print alongside a few other forest critters. So I found a piece of foam and used it to help block out the scene. By quickly sketching out the rough shape in my head, it helped me to visualize what would be happening. Off to the left, we have a path winding through the woods to Granny's house, flanked by two somewhat Tim Burton-esque trees. But over to the right, I'm going to build up a mound using sculptor mold, which will then be covered in blooming and beautiful flowers, just covered in flowers. And that's where Red Riding Hood is having her encounter. In our previous video, Cake-Based Biomes, I had used the Milliput roller, and I knew there was a rough cobblestone roller and it would be perfect to get this path that's slightly overgrown and slightly under-maintained. So, allowing it to be a little bit rough on the edges and a little bit uneven, I pressed the roller across it and voila, I had my cobblestone texture. With these last additions on the base done, it was time to sculptor mold the whole thing, which effectively was a process of just blending it all into one cohesive, structured piece. And there you have it. That's the groundwork done. Time to start painting. And so Dave had finished sculpting his diorama, and it was time for him to begin the painting Oh, there you are, back again. I was just reading the fairy tale that was Dave making his Red Riding Hood video. I don't even know what this narrative framing device is, but I'm leaning into it. I had my diorama ready to go, and now it was time to start filling it with color. First thing I did was spray paint it brown. After it was brown, I put down some grays. This whole process could be done with dry brushing, except for the two boulders that I'd put on the base. It was time for me to go in and paint the wood. So I grabbed this amazingly rich color called Brown Dubai by Scale 75. I was really happy with this color. It was from the Gold Non-Metallic Metal set, and it was just rich and juicy, velvety, and I love it. Sometimes you get a paint and you just love it. I really like this paint. Laying down a fairly dark base of a gray, I dry brushed up with multiple consecutive layers of lighter grays. These 3D prints had so much texture, so I was happy to know I could lean in with a dry brush and just start to build up multiple layers. Now, throughout this whole project, Jazza and I have been really careful not to spy each other's work. We actually set up a music stand that blocked out his vision of my workbench, and he had to teach me how to use a static grass applicator without being able to come near my models, which led to me having some flock testers glued on a piece of cardboard. A very good way to dabble before you dive. Also, he tells me. I'll briefly run over the static applicator for you guys at home because, hey, I didn't know how to use it. Effectively, the way it works is a current runs through this wire, you put down your glue onto the base, in this case PVA, and then you place the contact with the glue, which runs a current through it. And then when you shake on the grass from the applicator, I'm guessing that the current runs between the alligator clips and the applicator, which shoots through the static grass and causes it to stand up. I really liked this effect. I mean, for literally years, I haven't had one of these and I've just shaken flock on, and so many people do this. Like most people I know in my hobby store don't use a static grass applicator. They just kind of glue the flock on. It changes the game. I can't believe how much depth and richness it puts in there. It just looks so much more real, and I really wish I'd been doing this sooner. Now that I've seen it, I can't go back to using flock the way it's not meant to be used. With the static grass applied, everything was really starting to take shape, and I was getting a feeling of what this scene would look like. Now these adorable birds I found on my mini factory. I pictured classic Disney scenes and as such decided to paint them following those colours. Really nice baby blue and soft pink. Man, do they just sell the vibe of being completely innocent and Disney-like. Bambi, however, was another matter. I used rough paintbrush techniques on this to give a sort of a naturally modelled edge to the brown where it meets the white underbelly. Making sure to also sponge on some black for the tips of the ears and paint black on the nose and the eyes and the hood. And so he'd finished the painting the diorama. The animals were done. They were cute, adorable even. Wait, this is just flock glued into a piece of cardboard. There's not even a book here. It was time to paint Red Riding Hood. Red Riding Hood is a very, very small model, and with such slender details also 3D printed. A lot of the detail was quite small, so I had to be careful when choosing my colours and picking it out. I went for a very traditional take on Red Riding Hood. A lot of the art you see in picture storybooks, she's wearing a sort of sky blue dress, or white in different variations, with white tights on underneath. And on top she has her iconic red robe. Her red cloak, I actually started by mixing purple and red to get a really, really deep colour for the recesses. Her hair and eyes I painted in much the usual affair, highlighting a sort of sandy blonde or maybe light brown hair. I took a few goes going back into the eyes as well. No matter how much people tell me that sometimes it's easier to avoid just painting eyes on the miniature, I can't do it. I'd rather eyes that maybe don't look perfect than have my models not have eyes at all. It's a personal choice, and I think I've got to the point where I can at least pull off forgivable looking eyes. They're certainly not, as we used to call them, eggs cracked into eye sockets. With that finished, the last thing that remained was to show everyone what I've done, especially Jazza. He's gonna be expecting Red Riding Hood. I don't think he's gonna be expecting this scene straight out of a Disney film.
What have you got for me? How'd you go?
Are you ready to see it?
This is so exciting.
All right, there you go.
Holy gosh! Oh my god, look at this Disney landscape. There's deer and birds and trees. I love the diorama so much. It's incredible, but I do need to take her if that's okay.
Take Red Riding Hood?
Yeah.
Yeah, you can put it back though on it afterwards.
First of all, thank you for painting Little Red Riding Hood for me. I think it really completes the piece. This is the true story of Little Red Riding Hood. I'm so sorry, Dave.
My brain can only process 10% at a time.
Just let it soak in bit by bit.
Oh my god!
Because everything around her is so dark and grim, but she's really beautifully and brightly painted.
What? Yeah! This is so grim dark.
We should do this again sometime. If you're keen, I'm keen.
I'm keen.
Okay, cool. I haven't totally shocked you and pushed you away then. Yeah. If you came here from my main channel, subscribe, because we do such cool stuff and it's literally just getting started. In fact, this is the first main channel video where we've shown off this room.
Hey!
Look at that. All that stuff. There's videos for all those awesome things we made.
And you know who else we love here in Tabletop Time? It's our patrons, and thank you for all your support.
Thanks so
Helping
much,
us make
guys.
these awesome videos.
It's amazing to have such a supportive community, and these are the people who make our big and ambitious projects possible, and we have a lot planned. You did an amazing job, Sir David, and thank you for. It was a pleasure working with you.
Excellent work, sir.